Okay, let's unpack this. Picture this. A waterfall cascading down a glacier. But it's not water. It's blood red, staining the pristine white ice. Chilling, isn't it?
It really is. That image, Blood Falls, it feels like it's ripped straight from a thriller.
And believe it or not, that eerie spectacle is just a glimpse, really, into the truly strange and often baffling world hidden beneath Antarctica's icy facade.
What's fascinating here is how that single visceral image of Blood Falls encapsulates so much of Antarctica's allure. It's a continent of extreme beauty, yes, but also a place where the ordinary rules seem to bend, where hidden processes create phenomena that feel almost otherworldly.
Exactly. And on this deep dive, we're not just taking a casual look. We're plunging into the enigmatic heart of Antarctica, a continent shrouded in ice, and, let's be honest, a thick veil of the unknown. You've shared some truly compelling scientific research and exploration notes with us. Our mission: to uncover some of its most persistent mysteries and, more importantly, the surprising realities they point to. For you, someone who's keen on grasping complex information quickly and thoroughly, Antarctica is this incredible puzzle box of scientific enigmas.
It really is.
We aim to reveal those surprising facts without ever making it feel like an information overload.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Antarctica challenges our understanding of what's possible on this planet. It's a place where life finds a way in the most extreme conditions, where geological processes play out on, well, unimaginable timescales.
Yeah.
And where even the ice itself seems to have a voice. We've delved into some fascinating material, rigorous scientific publications from the Antarctic Research Series, articles that really dig into the intrigue like Antarctic Secrets, 14 Greatest Mysteries of Antarctica, substantial reports from the British Antarctic Survey, and thought-provoking academic reviews. It's a rich tapestry of information.
Absolutely. And as we sifted through all of this, one thing became really clear. Antarctica isn't just a frozen desert. It's a dynamic, evolving world with secrets buried deep within its ice and beneath its surface.
Definitely.
It sparks the imagination. And sometimes, as we'll see, those imaginative ideas can take some pretty unexpected turns. So prepare for some aha moments as we uncover some truly hidden knowledge.
Sounds good.
All right, so with a continent as vast and as full of secrets as Antarctica, where do we even begin? I say we start with what's going on miles beneath all that ice. It's like a hidden planet down there.
Indeed. The sheer scale of the Antarctic ice sheet is almost beyond comprehension, but what lies beneath is equally astonishing. Let's begin our descent into the subglacial realm with the lakes.
Okay, so you're talking about these massive bodies of water, completely isolated from the sunlight and the atmosphere. It's mind-boggling that they exist at all.
What's fascinating here is that the presence of these subglacial lakes, and there are approximately 400 of them, was first hinted at way back in 1970.
1970.
Through the use of radar technology. For decades, this intricate network of liquid water remained a complete mystery, locked beneath up to 3 kilometers of solid ice. Think about that, an entire hydrological system hidden from view.
3 kilometers of ice pressing down. The pressure must be immense. How do these lakes manage to stay liquid in such freezing conditions?
Precisely. Their formation is tied to Antarctica's ancient geological history after it broke away from the supercontinent Rwanda. But the key to their liquid state, despite the sub-zero temperatures at the ice-water interface, is that incredible pressure exerted by the sheer weight of the overlying ice sheet. It's like a constant colossal squeeze that inhibits freezing.
And the most famous of these hidden giants is Lake Vostok, right? I've heard that name before.
Correct. Lake Vostok is the largest subglacial lake in Antarctica, discovered in the 1990s by Russian scientists. To really grasp its scale, it's not just the biggest of these hidden lakes. It's the 3rd largest lake by volume on the entire planet.
Wow. 3rd largest on Earth, hidden under ice.
Exactly. And consider its extreme conditions. Water temperatures hovering around a frigid -3 C, yet remaining liquid under the immense pressure. And it's been sealed off from the atmosphere by ice for potentially over 20 million years.
20 million years.
It's like a time capsule holding secrets from a very different Earth. 20 million years of isolation isn't just a number. It's a potential evolutionary experiment sealed off from the rest of the biosphere. Scientists are incredibly keen to understand if life in such conditions has developed fundamentally different biochemical pathways or unique adaptations to the extreme pressure and perpetual darkness.
20 million years. What kind of life could possibly survive in a place like that? It sounds like something straight out of a science fiction thriller, maybe even something alien.
It does sound like science fiction, but the reality, as the 2014 breakthrough at Lake Whillans showed us, can be even more astonishing.
Lake Whillans. What happened there?
Lake Whillans is smaller and less extreme than Vostok, but scientists managed to drill into it and discovered a surprisingly diverse ecosystem of microorganisms thriving in complete darkness.
No way.
Yeah, with no sunlight and no fresh air. These microbes are chemosynthetic, meaning they derive energy by metabolizing inorganic substances like methane and ammonium, essentially eating chemicals, rather than relying on photosynthesis like plants.
So life finds a way, even down there.
It's a testament to the resilience of life and really makes you wonder about the possibilities of similar ecosystems existing in other extreme environments, perhaps even beyond our planet.
From a completely isolated lake to potentially isolated life, it really does make you think about what else might be lurking in the dark corners of our universe.
Okay, so subglacial lakes are mind-blowing. But there's also this place called Deep Lake, which sounds equally bizarre in a completely different way.
Deep Lake is another fascinating anomaly, an inland lake situated in East Antarctica. Unlike the subglacial lakes hidden beneath kilometers of ice, Deep Lake is exposed at the surface, albeit in a very harsh and unforgiving environment.
Exposed, but still extreme, I take it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What makes it truly unique is its incredibly high salinity.
Salty like the ocean. Think Dead Sea levels, but even more intense. Deep Lake is about 10 times saltier than the average ocean water.
10 times. Wow.
This extreme concentration of salt has a profound effect. It dramatically lowers the freezing point of the water, preventing it from turning to ice even when air temperatures plummet to a bone-chilling -20 degrees C.
That's intense. So what kind of life can tolerate that much salt and such extreme cold? It must be a pretty desolate place.
It is a remarkably unproductive ecosystem, yet it supports a unique community of just 4 known species of microbes.
Only 4.
Just 4. It's such an extreme environment that it's actually dangerous for most other forms of life. There have even been documented instances of penguins venturing into the lake, perhaps mistaking it for open seawater.
Oh, no.
And tragically dying due to the shock of the extreme cold and hypersaline water. Poor penguins. Talk about a salty surprise.
Poor things.
Yeah.
It really paints a picture of just how extreme and unforgiving these isolated Antarctic environments can be. Right, so we've got hidden water worlds under the ice and super salty lakes on the surface. What else is concealed down there? I've heard whispers of colossal hidden mountain ranges. It sounds almost mythical.
You're right. Beneath 2 to 4 kilometers of ice, stretching for a staggering 1,200 kilometers, that's comparable to the length of the Alps.
Wow.
And reaching heights of up to 3,000 meters, lies the Gamburtsev mountain range. It's a massive, Everest-rivaling mountain range that remains completely hidden from view beneath the ice.
Imagine an entire mountain range the size of a continent, completely veiled.
That's incredible. How did we even discover something so enormous and so well concealed? You can't exactly just stumble upon a mountain range buried under that much ice. It sounds like something out of a Jules Verne novel. Their discovery in 1958 by Russian scientists was quite an indirect one. They were traversing across Antarctica as part of the International Geophysical Year and recorded some very unusual and unexpected gravity fluctuations.
Gravity fluctuation.
Yeah. These anomalies in the gravitational field hinted at a large, dense structure buried beneath the ice, which subsequent investigations revealed to be the Gamburtsev Mountains.
So we know they're there. We know roughly how big they are. But what's the big mystery surrounding these hidden peaks? What makes them so scientifically baffling?
The real puzzle for scientists is their age and their remarkable resistance to erosion. These mountains are estimated to be around 1 billion years old.
1 billion. With a B.
1 billion years old. Now, on geological timescales, mountains that ancient should have been eroded down to mere hills by wind, water, and ice over all that time.
Right. They should be stumps by now.
Exactly. The fact that these Everest-sized peaks haven't eroded away in 1 billion years challenges our fundamental understanding of mountain weathering.
1 billion years old and still towering thousands of meters high? That defies geological logic. What could possibly have protected them for so long?
Exactly. There are ongoing scientific debates and various theories being explored, but one prominent and intriguing hypothesis suggests that the overlying ice sheet itself might act as a kind of frozen mantle.
A frozen mantle?
Effectively shielding the mountains from the relentless forces of erosion over all those eons. It's like the ice provided a colossal frozen bodyguard.
Wow.
This theory suggests a previously unappreciated role of ice sheets in long-term geological stability.
So a frozen bodyguard for billion-year-old mountains hidden beneath miles of ice. Antarctica just keeps unveiling layers of strangeness. Okay, so we've explored this hidden world beneath the ice. Now let's ascend back to the surface and delve into some of those truly bizarre phenomena you mentioned earlier. Blood Falls is still vividly etched in my mind. That image is just so unsettling.
Let's revisit Blood Falls. That stark and unforgettable image of a crimson waterfall seemingly bleeding from the icy face of Taylor Glacier into the frozen expanse of Lake Bonny in the McMurdo Dry Valleys is certainly striking and has captivated imaginations for years. For a long time, it was a complete enigma, fueling all sorts of speculation.
It literally looks like the ice is weeping blood.
Yeah.
What's the actual scientific explanation behind this macabre spectacle?
The recent scientific understanding, pieced together through careful investigation, is quite fascinating and perhaps even more intriguing than some of the initial, more fantastical explanations. The water-feeding Blood Falls originates from an ancient body of extremely salty water that became trapped beneath the glacier millions of years ago. This effectively sealed it off from the atmosphere and the usual processes of water circulation. Think of it as a prehistoric brine pool, locked in time.
So it's like a time capsule of ancient seawater now trapped under this massive river of ice.
Precisely. Over vast periods, this isolated water became incredibly concentrated with salts, about 3 times saltier than modern seawater, which significantly lowers its freezing point. It also became exceptionally rich in dissolved iron and completely devoid of oxygen and sunlight. Now, here's the key. This iron-rich, oxygen-free saltwater slowly seeps out through a fissure or channel in the Taylor Glacier.
Right.
When it finally emerges and comes into contact with the oxygen in the air at the surface, a chemical reaction occurs. The dissolved iron rapidly oxidizes, essentially rusting.
Rusting.
And it's this iron oxide, the same compound that gives rust its reddish-brown color that stains the water, that dramatic blood-red hue. It's a dramatic visual demonstration of a very specific and ancient geological process.
From these bleeding glaciers to singing ice. You've got to be pulling my leg now. Yeah. What other sensory surprises does Antarctica hold?
Not at all. The Ross Ice Shelf, which is absolutely colossal, roughly the size of France.
Size of France. Good grief.
Has been found to emit a rather eerie and almost melodic sound.
A gigantic slab of ice singing. How on earth does that even happen? Is it some kind of whale song trapped in the ice?
It's a fascinating physical phenomenon. It's caused by the wind persistently blowing across the undulating surface of the snow dunes that form on the ice shelf.
Okay, Wendover Dunes.
This steady wind creates subtle but continuous surface vibrations. These vibrations, in turn, generate almost constant seismic tones. Now, the crucial part is that these tones are extremely low in frequency, far below the range of human hearing.
Infrasound.
Exactly. Which is why we don't naturally perceive the ice shelf as singing.
So we needed specialized scientific instruments to eavesdrop on this icy opera.
Precisely. Scientists initially deployed highly sensitive seismic sensors on the Ross Ice Shelf, primarily to study its overall stability and internal dynamics. This unusual and almost constant song was actually discovered quite serendipitously, almost as a background hum in their data.
Just background noise that turned out to be music.
Sort of. What's even more intriguing is that the characteristics of this icy song, its frequency and intensity, actually change in response to various environmental factors.
Like what?
Such as changes in wind patterns, the presence of surface melting, or even distant storms that flex the ice shelf. It's like the ice shelf has its own subtle voice, and it responds to its surroundings.
So this massive ice shelf has its own unique soundtrack, and it shifts and changes with the weather and other environmental cues. That's utterly wild. And scientists are actually using this singing to monitor its health.
Precisely. Scientists are now actively analyzing these subtle seismic hums as a tool to continuously monitor the ice shelf's stability, to detect subtle changes that might indicate vulnerability to fracturing or collapse.
It's akin to listening to the heartbeat of this immense frozen structure.
Yeah, using its own vibrations to understand its state.
This is all so much more dynamic and interconnected than I ever imagined Antarctica to be. Okay, so we've got bleeding falls and singing ice. What other bizarre secrets is this enigmatic continent harboring? I'm hearing tales of ancient rainforests, and maybe even whispers of something more, something perhaps unexpectedly.
You're now touching upon a period in Antarctica's distant past that is almost difficult to reconcile with its current frozen state. But the accumulating scientific evidence strongly suggests that millions of years ago, Antarctica was a significantly warmer region.
Warmer.
Much warmer. covered in extensive and lush rainforests. Imagine a verdant landscape where now there is only ice.
Rainforests in Antarctica. That sounds as improbable as finding a tropical beach at the North Pole today. What kind of evidence supports such a radical transformation?
The evidence comes from a compelling array of fossil discoveries. Scientists have unearthed fossilized wood, clear and unmistakable imprints of tropical tree leaves, and other botanical remains that are characteristic of ancient rainforest ecosystems.
Okay, fossil plants. What about animals?
Furthermore, a significant number of fossils of various animal species have been found, including marine reptiles, ancient birds, and even the remains of dinosaurs that roamed a much warmer Antarctic landmass during the Cretaceous period.
Dinosaurs in Antarctica. That paints a very different picture than the one we have today. It's like a lost world frozen in time.
Indeed. It showcases the dramatic shifts in Earth's climate over geological timescales. We've even found smaller, but equally significant fossils, such as the well-preserved fossilized forewings of beetle species that thrived in the warmer Antarctic climate of 14 to 20 million years ago.
Wow.
And an extraordinarily well-preserved find. 50-million-year-old sperm cells discovered attached to the egg case of a long-extinct worm species. The level of preservation in these ancient Antarctic sediments is remarkable.
Sperm cells, that's incredibly detailed and gives us a truly intimate glimpse into a long-vanished past. But you also hinted at something perhaps more human-related in Antarctica's history. That sounds like we might be venturing into more speculative territory.
Well, the idea that early human or pre-human societies might have existed in Antarctica's extremely distant past stems from the understanding that the continent was once habitable, even potentially lush and resource-rich.
Okay, so if dinosaurs were there?
Exactly. If diverse flora and fauna flourished there, the hypothetical possibility of early hominid migration or even the independent development of early human-like species cannot be entirely dismissed, although direct evidence remains highly elusive. However, it's crucial to emphasize that the current dominant scientific understanding, based on the available fossil record, primarily points to the evolution and distribution of various plant and animal life forms during these warmer periods, not human civilizations.
Right.
The timeline for early human migration and development, as we currently understand it, doesn't neatly align with Antarctica's last prolonged warm period.
So while Antarctica was once a very different place, the idea of ancient human civilizations thriving there is still very much in the realm of speculation rather than established scientific fact, at least for now.
Sure.
Okay, so the climate has dramatically transformed over millions of years. What about clues that have arrived from beyond our planet? I'm talking about meteorites. I hear Antarctica is a prime hunting ground for them.
Antarctica is indeed considered a premier location for finding meteorites, and this is due to a rather unique combination of environmental factors.
Like what makes it so good?
Firstly, the extremely cold and arid conditions prevalent across much of the continent act as superb natural preservatives, effectively slowing down the weathering and degradation of these extraterrestrial visitors.
Okay, so they don't rust away or break down easily?
Exactly. Secondly, the stark contrast between the dark color of most meteorites and the vast, uniform white expanse of the ice sheet makes them significantly easier to visually identify and locate.
Like finding a dark pebble on an endless white beach.
Precisely. Furthermore, the dynamics of the East Antarctic ice sheet play a crucial role. In certain areas, the slow but continuous movement of the ice can concentrate meteorites over geological timescales.
The ice itself collects them.
In a way, yes. Additionally, the process of sublimation, where ice transitions directly from a solid to a gas, can gently erode the ice surface, leaving meteorites exposed and relatively undisturbed. It's like a natural conveyor belt and concentration mechanism for these space rocks.
A natural meteorite collection service. How many of these cosmic souvenirs have we managed to gather from Antarctica?
Since systematic searches began in 1976, scientists have collected an extraordinary number of extraterrestrial meteorite samples in Antarctica, over 20,000 individual specimens.
20,000? That's incredible.
It's a phenomenal contribution to our understanding of the solar system. In 2013, for example, a team discovered the largest meteorite found in East Antarctica in over 2 decades, a substantial 18-kilogram iron meteorite.
18 kilos of rock that traveled who knows how many light years across space. What kind of scientific treasures have we unearthed amongst this vast collection?
We found a remarkable diversity of material, including fragments of asteroids like Vesta and even rare meteorites that originated from the surface of Mars.
Rocks from Mars just lying on the ice.
Just lying there, preserved. These Martian meteorites, in particular, have provided invaluable insights into the geological history and potential for past or even present life on the red planet. Antarctica truly serves as a unique and incredibly valuable window into the composition and evolution of our solar system.
So from hidden lakes potentially harboring unique life to alien rocks scattered across its icy plains, Antarctica is a treasure trove of scientific discovery. Now, let's shift our focus to the present day and talk about the profound changes that are currently underway on the continent. We're hearing a lot about the impacts of climate change in this seemingly remote and untouched part of the world.
The changes happening in Antarctica as a result of global climate change are indeed significant and, in some regions, quite alarming. The Antarctic Peninsula and West Antarctica have experienced some of the most rapid and substantial temperature increases on the planet over the last 6 decades.
How much of an increase?
Average annual temperatures rising by around 3 degrees C, and even more dramatically during the winter months, sometimes over 4 degrees C.
3 degrees Celsius might not sound like a huge number, but in such an extremely cold and delicate environment, that small shift must have far-reaching consequences.
It does indeed. And satellite observations conducted between 1986 and 2021 have revealed a striking and visible consequence of this warming trend: a substantial increase in vegetation cover, particularly along the Antarctic Peninsula.
Vegetation, like actual green stuff.
Yes. Areas showing a significant increase in vegetation, as measured by the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, or NDVI, have expanded from a mere 0.863 square kilometers to a substantial 11.947 square kilometers.
Whoa, that's more than a tenfold increase.
Exactly. That's a dramatic increase in just a few decades. And this greening trend, we see it's primarily in moss-dominated ecosystems.
12 square kilometers of new vegetation appearing in Antarctica. That's a very visible and significant ecological shift. What are the dominant plant types that are leading this greening?
As mentioned, the primary drivers of this greening are mosses and, to a lesser extent, some species of Antarctic hairgrass and pearlwort. This trend echoes similar observations in other cold climate regions around the globe that are experiencing warming temperatures.
So it's part of a bigger pattern.
It strongly suggests that the terrestrial ecosystems of the Antarctic Peninsula are undergoing a fundamental transformation in response to the changing climate.
So while we often focus on the melting ice, the land itself is also undergoing significant changes. What are the potential broader ecological implications of this greening trend?
There are several potentially significant ecological consequences. Increased vegetation could lead to greater connectivity between previously isolated biogeographic regions along the peninsula, potentially resulting in ecological homogenization, a decrease in regional distinctiveness. It also raises concerns about the potential for the establishment and spread of non-native invasive species.
Invaders.
That could outcompete the native flora and fauna, and further disrupt the delicate balance of these unique ecosystems. Warmer temperatures essentially lower the environmental barriers that have historically limited the colonization of new species.
So a greener Antarctica might actually come with some significant ecological challenges for its native inhabitants. What about the vast expanses of sea ice that surround the continent? We hear so much about the dramatic decline of sea ice in the Arctic. Is a similar trend unfolding in the Antarctic?
The situation with Antarctic sea ice is more complex and exhibits some key differences compared to the Arctic. While the Arctic has experienced a clear and significant long-term decline in sea ice extent, the Antarctic has shown a modest overall increase in sea ice area over the past few decades.
An increase? That sounds counterintuitive.
It does, but this overall trend masks significant regional variations. We've observed increases in sea ice concentration in the Ross Sea and along the coast of East Antarctica, while the region near the Antarctic Peninsula has actually experienced a rapid and substantial reduction in sea ice.
So it's not a uniform picture of ice increase. There are distinct areas where it's decreasing quite significantly. What's driving these regional differences in sea ice trends?
Research indicates that complex interactions between wind patterns and ocean currents play a crucial role. In the Pacific and Atlantic sectors surrounding Antarctica, there's a strong coupling between wind forcing and sea ice motion. However, in the East Antarctic sector, this coupling is weaker, and coastal ocean currents tend to be the dominant factor influencing ice transport and distribution. So different physical mechanisms are at play in different parts of the Antarctic, leading to these varied and sometimes counterintuitive trends in sea ice extent.
It's a really intricate and interconnected system, and it's clear that climate change is exerting its influence in multifaceted and regionally specific ways. Now let's delve into some of the really perplexing and less understood phenomena. You mentioned a gigantic hole suddenly appearing in the ice. That sounds quite dramatic.
Ah, yes, the polynya.
Huh.
In 2017, a massive opening, known as a polynya, appeared in the sea ice of the Weddell Sea.
How massive are we talking?
To truly grasp its scale, this particular polynya grew to an area roughly the size of Ireland.
Ireland.
Roughly, yeah. What makes this event particularly noteworthy is that while polynyas, which are essentially areas of open water surrounded by sea ice, are not entirely unprecedented in the Antarctic, this one was the largest observed since the 1970s and the first of its magnitude in over 4 decades.
Oh.
Its sudden appearance after such a long absence raised a lot of scientific eyebrows.
A hole the size of Ireland just spontaneously opens up in the middle of the Antarctic sea ice. That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, or perhaps something less natural. What are the suspected causes behind these giant polynyas?
The prevailing scientific theory attributes their formation to the upwelling of relatively warmer and saltier water from the deeper layers of the Southern Ocean.
Okay, warm water coming up from below.
Exactly. This warmer water can melt the surface sea ice from below. As this warmer, less dense water rises and encounters the colder surface water, it can sometimes create a convective overturning, bringing more heat to the surface and further accelerating the ice melt. Think of it as a localized and intense area of heat rising from the depths.
A kind of underwater heat vent melting away the ice from beneath. But why did one this large appear so suddenly after so many years?
That's the key question that scientists are still actively investigating. While the general mechanism of warmer water upwelling is understood, the specific triggers and conditions that lead to such massive and prolonged polynyas are not yet fully clear. There's speculation that specific atmospheric conditions, coupled with underlying oceanographic patterns, might play a critical role in initiating and sustaining these large openings.
What about, like, animals keeping it open?
Well, there's also the possibility that marine mammals, such as seals and whales, might contribute to keeping smaller polynyas open for breathing. But a hole the size of Ireland is far beyond the scale of biological influence. The sudden reappearance of such a large polynya after a long hiatus underscores our incomplete understanding of these complex ocean-ice interactions.
From giant holes in the ice to a perpetually boiling volcano in the middle of a frozen desert. Antarctica seems to have it all. Tell me more about the enigmatic Mount Erebus.
Mount Erebus, situated on Ross Island, holds the distinction of being the world's southernmost active volcano.
Active now.
Yes, and its level of activity has actually shown an increase over the past 30 years. It's a truly remarkable and extreme geological feature in an already extreme environment.
Active as in currently erupting or just restless. What kind of volcanic activity are we talking about in this icy realm?
Erebus features persistent liquid magma in its summit crater, and it harbors long-lived lava lakes, ancient pools of molten rock that have been continuously boiling and circulating for an estimated 1.3 million years.
A million-year-old lava lake.
That's the estimate. It's constantly simmering and occasionally experiences small explosive eruptions, venting gases and ash into the frigid Antarctic air. Despite the incredibly harsh conditions and its remote location, which limit frequent scientific expeditions.
I can imagine.
Our research team did manage to reach the summit crater back in 2013 to conduct some unique investigations.
What kind of scientific discoveries were made at the fiery summit of this icebound volcano? It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, fire and ice in constant juxtaposition.
They made some fascinating discoveries. They found certain types of organisms, extremophiles, that are actually thriving in the geothermal heat within the volcano's interior.
Life inside the volcano.
Thriving in the heat, yeah. Even more surprisingly, they discovered communities of microorganisms inhabiting ice caves that have been formed by the volcano's persistent heat.
Ice caves warmed by a volcano.
Exactly, suggesting unique and highly specialized adaptations to these incredibly challenging conditions, living literally between fire and ice.
Life truly does find a way to adapt to the most bizarre and extreme corners of our planet. Okay, so we've explored the land, the ice, and even an active volcano. What about the vast ocean that surrounds Antarctica? You mentioned the crucial role of the Southern Ocean in absorbing carbon dioxide.
The Southern Ocean, officially recognized as the world's 5th ocean by the International Hydrographic Organization in 2000, plays an absolutely critical role in the Earth's global climate system.
How so?
It encircles the entire Antarctic continent and is a major driver of global ocean circulation patterns, influencing weather and climate worldwide.
And it acts as a significant sink for the excess carbon dioxide we've been pumping into the atmosphere, right?
Precisely. Scientists have determined that the Southern Ocean has absorbed a substantial portion, approximately 15%, of all the carbon dioxide emissions generated by human activities since the start of the Industrial Revolution.
15%, that's huge.
It's immense. This natural carbon sink has played a crucial role in mitigating the effects of climate change. However, it's absolutely vital to understand that this capacity isn't limitless. Right.
And researchers are actively working to understand the complex biological and physical mechanisms that govern this carbon absorption and how it might be affected by future climate change.
So this vast, frigid ocean is doing a huge and largely unseen service for the entire planet by soaking up our carbon emissions. It's humbling to consider the interconnectedness of Earth's systems. Now, we've journeyed through a lot of established science and some genuinely perplexing natural mysteries, but Antarctica, with its extreme remoteness and vast unexplored territories, has also become fertile ground for some, shall we say, more imaginative and less conventional theories. Whispers of hidden alien bases, lost civilizations frozen in time, and even lingering Nazi secrets. Let's briefly touch upon some of these more speculative narratives.
It's true. Antarctica's extreme isolation, its harsh and unforgiving environment, and the sheer vastness of what remains unexplored beneath its thick ice sheet have undoubtedly fueled a wide array of intriguing, if not scientifically substantiated, speculations and conspiracy theories.
The unknown invites imagination. Exactly. The very nature of the unknown tends to invite imaginative explanations.
Let's start with the extraterrestrial angle. What kind of theories link Antarctica to alien life or visitations? Seems like a popular theme in certain circles.
There are various claims circulating, ranging from beliefs that extraterrestrial life forms have established secret bases deep beneath the Antarctic ice to alleged sightings of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, in the Antarctic skies, with some even claiming to have found evidence in satellite imagery like Google Earth. It's become a focal point for some who subscribe to theories of ancient alien visitations or ongoing extraterrestrial activity on Earth.
And they point to weird shapes in the ice or something.
Often, yes. These theories often interpret unusual geological formations or unexplained anomalies as potential artificial structures or signs of advanced technology.
So everything from crashed alien spacecraft to clandestine alien research facilities hidden beneath the ice. It's a wide spectrum of possibilities being proposed.
Indeed, that captures the general scope of these extraterrestrial-focused theories. Then there's the persistent and captivating myth of the lost city of Atlantis supposedly lying frozen beneath the Antarctic ice.
Atlantis in Antarctica.
That's the theory. The rationale behind this often connects to the scientific understanding that Antarctica was once a warmer and potentially habitable continent.
Right, the ancient rainforests we talked about.
Exactly. The idea is that the advanced civilization of Atlantis could have flourished there before a cataclysmic event led to the Ice Age, effectively freezing the continent and burying the legendary city under kilometers of ice.
A frozen Atlantis, a technologically advanced civilization entombed in ice for millennia. It's a compelling narrative, but is there any actual archaeological or geological evidence to support such a dramatic claim?
Well, while it is scientifically established that Antarctica was once a significantly warmer landmass capable of supporting diverse life, there is currently no concrete archaeological or geological evidence that directly links it to the legendary city of Atlantis as described in ancient texts.
So no smoking gun?
No. The connection remains purely speculative and is largely based on reinterpretations of geological data and philosophical writings.
Okay, so ancient lost cities and hidden alien bases. What about the more historically grounded yet still somewhat shadowy theories surrounding Nazi Germany's activities in Antarctica? I've heard some pretty outlandish claims about secret underground installations and even Hitler's supposed escape to the South Pole.
The theories surrounding Nazi Germany's presence in Antarctica are perhaps rooted in a more tangible historical fact. Nazi Germany did indeed have an official Antarctic expedition in the late 1930s.
They really went there?
Oh, yes. They established a temporary research station. This historical expedition, coupled with the well-documented fascination of certain Nazi leaders with the occult and the exploration of unconventional ideas, has fueled various conspiracy theories over the years.
So there was a documented Nazi presence in Antarctica. What were they doing?
Yes. They established a station in Neuschwabenland in 1938-39, primarily for whaling and territorial claims. However, this station was relatively short-lived and was abandoned during the early stages of World War II.
Why abandoned?
Reportedly due to logistical challenges and issues such as contaminated food supplies, supposedly poisoned polar bear meat, though polar bears aren't native to Antarctica, so that detail's likely embellished over time.
Right, penguins maybe, not polar bears.
Exactly. While the Nazi regime certainly explored some unusual avenues and held an interest in esoteric concepts, the more extreme claims of vast, secret underground Nazi bases in Antarctica and the assertion that Hitler himself escaped there after the fall of Berlin are not supported by credible historical evidence.
So they've been widely debunked by historians.
Pretty much, yes.
So, while the Nazis did have a presence, the idea of a hidden Nazi stronghold deep within the Antarctic ice is likely more fiction than fact. It's fascinating, though, how this remote and enigmatic continent continues to spark such imaginative and sometimes quite extraordinary theories. It seems like the less we definitively know, the more room there is for speculation.
It truly is. Antarctica, in many ways, remains the most baffling and least understood continent on Earth, and that very sense of mystery naturally lends itself to a wide spectrum of interpretations, both scientific and speculative. While ongoing scientific research continues to unveil its many secrets, the allure of the unknown will likely continue to fuel these more unconventional and imaginative narratives for years to come.
Well, we've certainly journeyed across a truly mind-boggling landscape of hidden subglacial worlds, bizarre natural phenomena like bleeding glaciers and singing ice, dramatic shifts in its ancient climate, and even some of the more imaginative theories that its remoteness has inspired. It's abundantly clear that Antarctica is far more than just a vast frozen wasteland at the bottom of the world. It's a continent teeming with secrets and surprises.
Absolutely. We've glimpsed the potential for unique life thriving in the darkness beneath the ice, witnessed the strange beauty of its surface phenomena, explored its dramatic and almost unbelievable past, and touched upon the many enduring mysteries that continue to drive scientific inquiry.
Right.
And yes, even ignite some truly fascinating speculation about what else might be hidden there.
And for you, our listener, who values gaining deep knowledge and experiencing those satisfying aha moments, Antarctica offers an unparalleled opportunity to contemplate the vast unknowns of our planet and the intricate interconnectedness of its systems. This seemingly barren and desolate landscape holds secrets that have profoundly shaped and continue to impact global systems in ways we are only beginning to fully understand.
So here's a final, perhaps slightly unsettling thought for you to ponder. Given the increasing and undeniable evidence of rapid change unfolding across Antarctica, from the accelerating greening of the peninsula to the growing instability of its colossal ice shelves and the mysterious reappearance of massive polynyas.
Yeah, all that change.
What other profound and unexpected transformations might this remote and enigmatic continent reveal in the coming decades? And what potentially significant and far-reaching implications will those discoveries, both natural and perhaps even hinting at long-forgotten histories, hold for the rest of our world? It's a story that is still very much being written in ice and time.
Indeed. We encourage you to continue exploring the scientific research, the ongoing discoveries, and even the enduring mysteries of the Great White Continent. It's a place that consistently surprises and challenges our understanding of our planet, and perhaps even our place within the larger cosmic picture.